Hi guys, welcome to our Performance Management Learning and Development Series. I'm Anthony E.L. Tan, a Senior Performance Management Consultant from Top Foresight. I'm also a Certified Strategic Management and Balanced Scorecard Practitioner from the Balanced Scorecard Institute. My area of expertise is in performance management. In this video, I'll be covering on the subject relating to key performance indicator. This is one of the many performance management learning and development series which we launched starting from 1st June 2020. Today's topic is titled Target Setting and Overview. Most people are having difficulty in setting quantifiable target. You need to know why, and at the same time, the importance of getting it done correctly. Or else we'll all be wasting a lot of our valuable time in this kind of exercise. Let's get started. There are 5 major issues relating to target setting which most organizations encounter. The first one, most organizations use single target setting approach. Now, what is the problem here? The problem here is that when you use single target setting approach, we actually did not tell anybody whether it's a mid target, stretch target, or high performance target. In other words, there's no basis of defining the level of performance. All right. So take for example here, I put sales revenue stretched set target is 150 million. My answer is very simple. Is it mid target? Is it stretch target, high performance target? And if I say it's a mid target, then how do I going to encourage people to achieve beyond than the mid target? So this is actually a big problem. In other words, it leads to confusion as what to be expected from different individuals and subject to different interpretation. I want to bring to you a classic example of a situation that we encountered in Hanoi. Many years ago, we did an exercise in Hanoi, and this individual came and told me this is exactly what happened to his ex-company. A couple of years ago, he says the company actually called everybody in and announced the financial result that they want to accomplish. That was the beginning of that particular year, and told everybody that you could work hard to achieve this target. Every one of them was very excited. They were very excited. They worked very hard, and at the end of the year, they achieved the target the company have accomplished for them. All were excited because they expect this year to be, or that particular year, to be well rewarded. Unfortunately, what shocked them was the management told them that the target they set is just a minimum target only. It could have been better. They could have done much better. So what is the implication? Is everybody only get basic reward. Okay. And of course, the sad part is that most of the high performers left the organization. So one of the things you must realize is that single target setting can be very damaging, and in many situations, a lot of the shifting of goalposts by the management. All right. Now the second problem is this: there's no basis on how to derive a target or a target range of a specific measure. Now let's take one example here is this. Let's say we decide to do a target range for this measure called timely delivery of work. And of course, the unit target type we use is in percentage. Mid target is 85%, stretch target is 90%, high performance is 95%, below target is 80%. Now, the question here is this. What is this 85%? Most of the time, these are just figures or percentages plugged in the air and put it in. All right, what is 90%? What is 95%? Let me share with you another classic case of this particular problem is that we have a client in Sabah, in Taiwan, and this senior manager decided to take his own initiative to engage with the staff on setting target before actually we do a global exercise on target setting for the organization. So he called the staff in and he would same thing like this. He said 85%. He told the staff 85%. What do you think the staff will say? The staff will say, yeah, boss, okay. 90%? Yeah, okay. You know why they say okay? Because they have no idea and they don't know how to ask the question. And the boss himself also have no idea, but he thought that this will be a good percentage to drive people performance. All right. Now, this is a problem because the appraiser himself have no idea. Neither is the appraisee. And what happened? It will lead to the second problem. Most have little idea of what to do how to do, and the parameters on how to derive the target are usually not well defined. In other words, when they walk out of the meeting, 85%, they have no idea. In other words, they just go and do about their work, and whether they're going to measure perform or not, they have no idea. The only thing they have an idea was at the end of the year, when the boss engaged them, make sure that he's in a good mood. In other words, it's subject to, at the end of what? Speculative, okay, observations, and gut feeling of the appraiser, at the mercy of the appraiser. So basically, this is not a good approach of setting target. The fourth problem is use work standard as a target for a specific measure, and usually it's very difficult to measure the actual outcome. All right, let's take one classic example, response time. And usually when I ask a person, if your measure is response time, what's the unique target types? And they'll tell me day, and I know it is going to be a problem. Now, take for example, they say, what is big target? 3 days. What is stretch target? 2.5 days. High performance, 2 days. Below target, 3.5 days. Now, this is a problem because basically the 3 days or the 3 days that put in a mid target is actually a work standard. Now, what you're trying to tell people or your staff or the people in the company is that if you have people inquiry coming in, okay, you are supposed to respond within 3 days. That's a work standard. So in other words, if I got 20 responses that comes in, these 20 responses, I want to measure how many of these responses are done within 3 days. Let's take one example. Let's say you have one staff. What he does basically is in that month, he got 20 inquiry. And all his 20 inquiry are all done within the 3 days. So in other words, if I were to measure the 20 responses, he achieved 100%. This is very good. But if based on this target setting that you put it down there, he only meet target. Let's take another example. There's another staff. This guy is very smart. The first 10 activity or 10 inquiry, he done all more than 3 days. Let's say 4 days. So he knows that this is the way we set target. He will manipulate it. So the next 10 activity, all done within 1 day. Now, in order to do this kind of target setting, that means that I got to add up the total days of each responses, add up together, divide by number of responses. That means 40 plus 10 divided by 20 is 2.5 days. So if I were to base on this approach, it tells you that he got stretch target 2.5 days. But in actual fact, he failed. Why? Because out of the 20 responses that he has to do, 10 of them are within 3 days, and the other 10 are more than 3 days. He only achieved 50%. So what you're doing is you're rewarding the non-performer and you're marginalize the high performer. So in other words, you got to avoid it, and you got to know what is a work standard and what a target. Typically for this measure should be in percentage. The fifth problem is set target range, okay, using linear approach. This is lead to a situation either it is impossible to achieve high performance target or not driven to perform, knowing that the set target requirement cannot be achieved. Now, first of all, before we go any further, I want you to be very clear is measures are non-homogeneous, which means to say I cannot apply one condition for one measure and apply for the rest of the measure. Every measure are quite different in many ways. All right. Now, to understand this, let's take one example. Let's say sales revenue. So we set a target and we decide to use linear. So mid target, we will start with mid target is 100 million. Then we decide to increase 20 million for stretch target. So if we use linear means I will increase 20 million again for the next level. So what it means to say stretch at 120 million, high performance 140 million, below target is 80 million. Now, let's take one example here. Let's say by the third quarter, this guy achieved 120 million, okay? And he knows very well on the fourth quarter, it's almost impossible to achieve the 140 million. Even to get the 5 million itself requires tremendous effort. What do you think he will do? Of course, what he will do is the fourth quarter, just take it easy. All right. Now, if he can achieve 140 million, you also have an issue because it means your stretch target 120 is too easy. So you can see that it creates many problems here. Now, this is one end. What about the other end? Let's say, for example, we target 100 million, and by the third quarter, he knows that he cannot achieve 100 million. But 80 million is not a problem. So he tells the staff, hey, everybody, let's take it easy. Because if you get 95 million, you still get below target. 80 million is also below target. So why work so hard? So you can see sometimes it can be very demotivating. Now let's be very clear about the fundamental of performance management. Now, fundamental of performance management, number one is provide clarity. Everybody has to have some clarity to the level of performance you want. Number two, encourage individual to drive performance throughout the duration of the assessment period. This is very important. It means to say you want him to start at the beginning and throughout that duration, he continue to drive performance. Encourage individual to continuously drive performance result, even in the worst case situation. So I think we have to be very clear why we want to do target setting. Other than that, it'll be a waste of everybody's time. Okay, so now you understand some of the current issues. Now, of course, the question is, if we do it correctly, what are the benefits? When I say correctly means, if we set up well-defined parameters, we make sure the targets are set up properly. Now, one of the things that you will find very powerful and very useful is we provide an agreed performance standard for everyone to follow. Now, let's take one example here. Let's say timely delivery. Now, in order to have well-defined target, there are a few things you cannot avoid. Number one, when we say timely delivery of work, in this example, what work? You got to be precise. You cannot say how to measure everything. We always measure what is important and most significant. So in this case, we tell every staff that take 2 of your activity, which are very significant. I want to measure each of these 2 activities per month. Total, I want to measure 24. And let's say to make it very simple, these 2 activities, in this example, let's say, for example, you must submit by the 25th of each month. That means we're very clear what we define by timeliness. All right. So this will provide them. Now, this is very useful because it doesn't matter whether the manager is lenient or manager is tough. We can apply this measure to all organizations, and HR will have a very powerful way to control how measures need to be measured. All right. Second thing, the unique target type is in percentage. So we don't allow anyone to use one in day, one in point, one in rating. We agree that this is a measure, it's a unique target type, this is how we're going to measure. So it's very important, and we were able to send clarity to everybody. Number 2, a basis on what is to be expected and activity or action needed to be carried out. That means the parameter of how to derive the result are clearly stated. In other words, for example, now, of course, in any target setting, the first thing, rule number 1 is set the mid target. So I tell everybody, we get mid target. I don't care what are your work, but within the 24 activities, 21 out of 24, which in this case, 87.5% is mid target. Second thing, tell me what are those things you want to measure. In this example, admin report submission, accounts completion. So that means that everybody must be very clear. So assuming I set this parameter and when they walk out already, they know what to be measured already. So one of the things I find very interestingly is very often after doing the exercise, people still have no idea the definition of performance, what they need to do to perform. All right. The third thing is provide individual a clear understanding of various level of performance expectation. This is very important. Take, for example, now, once I set a mid target, I don't tell you how to get stretch target. In this case, 22 out of 24. How to get high performance target? 23 out of 24. Below target, 20 out of 24. You don't hit any below, that's called poor targets. So that means to say the 91.67% is because it's 22 over 24. So once I tell this, people can actually now monitor from the very beginning. They can actually track the performance as they go along. So that means they have a clear understanding from the very beginning. And if after 6 months later, assuming 12 or 12, they know very well they can achieve high performance results or rating system here, rating here. All right. Now, previously, for example, they don't have this. They just put 85, 90, 95. So remember I was telling you about the Tower case. In fact, the senior manager, after attending the global target setting exercise that we have done for the company, he called the staff in. And now he used the first approach. Instead of the second one, the earlier one, just put 85, 95%. He told me it was very powerful because That means everybody know exactly what to do and how to perform. All right? It leads to setting up of meaningful target range for different types of measure. Now, remember, I said very clearly just now, measures are non-homogeneous. Some measure you could use this approach, some measure you could use a different approach. All right? Now, let's take, for example, timely delivery of work. And we agreed is these are the parameters, 21, 20 over 24, 22 over 24. In this case, this target setting is based on the linear approach. But in some measures, okay, like sales revenue, we cannot use this approach already. We have decided that stretch target is 120% of the mid target. High performance, we put 125% of the mid target. Below is 80, 90, 95%. So in other words, for measure like this, we have to use S-curve. Now, just to show what's S-curve here, just a quick one, which means to say that basically is these are some of the conditions for setting S-curves. All right, that means to say linear is linear. You know, it's just S-curves. This is just to give you an overview what is S-curves and linear. So in other words, which means to say that if I know I cannot hit 150 million, I know very well now I cannot go below 142.5 million, which is actually a 95% of the mid target. So in other words, previously, if we were to use linear, that means to say it will be 120 million. And there's a big difference between 120 and 142 million. So in other words, even if you cannot meet the target, we want everyone to drive very hard to still meet the below target because it is based on a rating system. Now, most importantly is like this. We want to inspire everyone to be performance driven. So that not only that it must be from the start and throughout the duration of each of the financial years. That is very, very important thing. And of course, eventually is to achieve sustainable performance culture. Now in 2012, we did one exercise with what we call a technical-based company where 80 to 90% of the staff are either engineer or technical specialists. So when we start the exercise, we have encountered many problems because these technical people feel that this kind of exercise is a waste of time. We were very fortunate because there are two guys driving this particular initiative, the COO and the HR directors. To get them to even come for the training exercise itself is so difficult. So there was a lot of resistance. There's a lot of people who disagreed to use this method. But anyway, the CEO and the HR director said, no way, we are going to do it and we'll try to get it done properly. What was amazing is by 2015, they called themselves a performance culture company. Now, why they call a performance culture company was this. In 2012, nobody wants to do this exercise. In 2015, many of them began to see the power of meaningful target setting, how to quantify it, and how to drive performance. So always remember this. Get it right. Do it properly. Don't do for the sake of doing. So I hope that I provide you some ideas and have some clear understanding on how to do proper target setting. Thank you very much. If you like our video and believe you learned something of value, please share the link with your friend or subscribe it. We are coming up many more videos relating to performance management. This is under our learning and development series. For short and quick learning, you can refer to our quick tip series. If you need to know more about our services, do contact us.